Hi friends, today we are going to learn about the useReducer with counters application. Let's get start to know about this logic, how to implement this useReducer with counters in REACTJS. REFCE, it's a snippet. With this snippet we will get that arrow function template here. So let's create a constant reducer values state variable and dispatch here. Count comma dispatch tch, and here we'll use that use reducer and automatically imported here, and here we need to pass the two parameters here in this use reducer. First one is that reducer, and second one is that initial state. Now reducer we need to focus on that. Here we need to close this curly square bracket. So we need to focus on this to create this initial state here. Const initial state equals to, here it is an object. In this we are going to create two counters here. Here counter 1 initial value is 0 comma, second property is that counter 2, here initial value is 0 for this also. And let's do this reducer here. It's a method. We need to create the definition for this equals to, we need to pass the two parameters. One is state variable, second one is that action. It's a arrow function. Within this we will use that switch case action dot type. We should mention here type. Within this default is that we need to return that state variable. Return state variable. Then here let's write down all the cases. Case 1, within double quotes, increment. Now we are going to return the value, return within curly brackets. First one is that two properties are maintaining. While we are using one counter property, other value should not be changed. That's why we should use the spread operator for the state variable. That means it's a increment. It is a decrement. We should give it as a decrement. Here it is also increment. It is a decrement. Increment, decrement, increment 2. Names are, I am giving one increment 1, decrement 1 counters. Increment counter 1, increment counter 2, decrement counter 1, decrement counter, like this. Increment 1, increment so for understanding, counter COUNTR, increment counter 1. From here to here we need to copy and do the paste here and rename that to 2. Here also counter, here we should give the counter 1, here counter 2, and here counter COUNTR counter. So increment counter 1, decrement counter 1, increment counter 2, decrement counter 2, and finally we will use that reset here. Now case that is just copy that, Control C, and use that same Control V. Here we should use that reset button for all counters, or individual counters also we can maintain. Reset. First we will create for all counter reset, then return. What we are going to return, that entire object is that initial state. That's it. Then Alt Shift F, if you apply, then it will be adjusted automatically. Counter 1, counter, the increment counter 1, decrement counter 1, the increment counter 2, decrement counter 2. Reset, we are resetting this everything here. After that, we are using the actions for this. Let's use this here. Let's focus on this. We'll use that is React dot fragment. In this we'll use that div, and here we use that class name, which is a row, and within this we will use that control C and control V. It becomes a column, and we'll use that column size is 4. Within this we'll use that button. Within this button we'll type that is increment increment counter 1. That's it. And we'll focus on this control C, control V, control V. Here we'll use that, it's not a button, it's a h1 tag, or we can use that cards also. Div class name, it is a card. Here this increment, let's check it on the browser. Alt Shift F, how it is, like what we expected. Yeah, increment counter, yeah, it is showing good. And we need to give this colon, and here we need to focus on that counter. What we have, that count, control C, control V dot counter 1, and let's give some space here. Alt Shift F, then yeah, it is showing as we expected. Margin top, let's give some space. Margin top here minus -5. We'll now just will see that it's not good to looking, it's not good, so we'll apply for the buttons some cosmetic changes. Class name, which is form control, TROL, form control. Copy this and apply for this button also. Then let's check it. Okay, there is no action at all. Increment counter 0, and for this we can apply that here up to here. Control X, let's use that div. Within this div class name, here let's paste that one. First of all, class name is that card body or card title. Let's check it. Yeah, it's good, but it's more, it is showing that just we'll use title. What will happen? Title. Okay, no problem, leave it as it is. Then we have to know this next part is that control Z. Next one is that one more counter here that we need to modify here. Increment counter 2, here increment counter 2, here where is that increment counter 2, so let's check it on the browser. Yeah, it's right. If you click on increment counter 1, decrement, we need to change the names. Increment, decrement. Yeah, here it's a decrement D, it is also decrement D. Yes, Okay, increment, decrement, increment, decrement. If you click increment, it is going to increment this counter one. Decrement is going to counter. Now we need to apply that as reset button for this. So let's have that reset button here. We'll use that one more, that is column. Control C, Control V. Not required is anything. Control X. It should be button. Control Z. We'll take that. Control C, this one, this part. Control V, apply that. Now it is reset. RESET, reset. There is no card. Control X, Control Y, Control X, Control X, Control X, Control X. Then we'll verify. Okay, reset. It's a button. We should apply the button. BUTTON, button. Control V. Then here we'll apply that form control. We'll copy that. Class name, form control, Control C, and here apply that one, and that will give that margin auto. How it is that? Yeah, it is centered. Let's give some space. Margin top is 5. So yeah, let's give 4. It's good. Now refresh it. Yes. So now we have designed that UI part. Now we need to apply this action part. In the dispatch we will pass the action. As for that action, the values has to be modified when you click on the buttons. So here we use that on click. Let's use that arrow function here. Dispatch that. Within this dispatch we'll apply that object type. We need to pass object, that is type. Here colon, what is that? First one is increment counter 1. Control V, and we should give the one more property, that is payload. That should be 1. Alt Shift F, so that it will be good for us to understanding. Control C. Next one is decrement. Here we need to apply that, and we need to change that decrement value here. Copy this decrement value as a string. The type is increment counter 1, decrement counter 1, like that. Just copy this. We need to dispatch for this also. Where is that? This button. Control V, and increment counter 2. We need to pass the action increment counter 2. Control C, decrement here. This part is decrement counter 2. And finally we need to apply that reset counter increment. Where is that reset? Yeah, this one. And here reset name, what is that we used here? That is reset only. Control C, just remove that. Control V. There is no payload at all for this, for resetting. Just only one property we can pass here. Now let's verify how it is going to work. Here click on increment counter 1. Yeah, incremented. Click on decrement counter 1. It is decrementing, but it's not giving positive value. So what happened? We need to change that value to this -. Here also decrementing counter 2. Here also minus. Now we'll do that again, unit testing for this. Yeah, increment counter, it is incrementing, decrement counter, it is decrementing. Yeah, it is going to minus values also. Just click on reset. Yeah, resetted. Now we'll test this one also, increment counter 2. Here it is incrementing here. So what is happening here? This is increment counter 2, decrement counter 2. So here we need to change that counters to, this is counter 2, this is also counter 2. This property we need to change. Here counter, these two are increment decrement, counter 1 it is going to update, here counter 2 it is going to update. Let's verify here. Incrementing, yes. Counter 2 only one time, just a second, refresh it. Increment it only one time, it is incrementing, decrementing, resetting. Why it is incrementing only one time? Let's check it. Payload 1, payload 1, here also payload 1, here also payload 1. So increment counter 2, decrement counter 2, we are dispatching the values. So count.counter 2, here it is okay. Counter.count 2, count 1, it is also okay. And increment counter, it's not increment counter 2. Yes, here we need to update this counter 2 here also. Here also we need to update the counter 2. Then let's verify again that unit testing. As we expected, it was executing and resetting. Here also incrementing, and it is also decrementing, and negative also giving reset. Increment, increment, decrement, decrement, reset. Two counters it is going to reset. So it is not increment, it is not a increment, it is a counter 1, counter 2. So we need to change that to counter 1 and counter 2. It's a counter 1, it is a counter 2. Yeah, it is as we expected, it is working. Reset it. That's it, friends. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.